So the East, Michigan's the 1 seed. You have Alabama there as the 2, Texas as the 3, and you have Florida State as the 4. And now, sorry for Florida State fans. You guys had the tournament team last year had it not gotten canceled. I mean, that team was built pretty deep. You guys have any thoughts on this side of the bracket at all in the East with Michigan leading it off?
We're picking our 1 through 4.
Yeah, 1 through 4. Who you got?
I'll go last, actually.
Oh, you teased us there a little bit.
I'll let Jacob go first.
Oh boy.
I honestly have coming out of this part of the bracket. I want to say I have Michigan or Alabama, and I kind of would like to see Alabama do it. Not that I hope Alabama just succeeds in every sport now, but it's like Alabama being such a big football school and dominating their basketball program doesn't really have much expectation, as they don't need to. But if they were to make it to a Final Four and then potentially have a shot at a championship, they've literally, I looked this up. I shouldn't say I looked this up. I saw this on a YouTube video. Bama, Clemson, Miami, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Texas, USC. All really good football programs historically that have never been to the championship, even been to it, not even winning it. So if Alabama were to have that shot, this would be a pretty historical moment for them.
That'd be big time. I mean, it'd be cool to see. But hey, Matt, I said this to you the other night. Iona over Alabama, 15-2 upset right there. Rick Pitino with Iona. And I don't know if I'm going to take this in my bracket. Maybe I will. I'll put my chips where my mouth are, or where my mouth is. But Rick Pitino, 15 he's ever taken to the tournament. Okay, so that's one thing. Iona, this is their 5th straight tournament. So no matter what year you are at Iona, unless you're a freshman, you have tournament experience. And Alabama just went straight to the wire with LSU, who came in at an 8 seed in the tournament. And they beat LSU by 1 point in the SEC championship game at the very end. And don't get me wrong, as much scrutiny is around Will Wade and the coach there at LSU, I think LSU is a good team that could actually maybe give some problems to Gonzaga. I think Iona would be an interesting one to watch. Not that we see 15-2 upsets all the time, but with Rick Pitino leading the charge, he has tournament experience as a coach. Iona's 5th straight tournament appearance. I mean, it kind of has the recipe for a nice little 15-2 upset in round 1.
Yeah, definitely. I got 2 teams, 2 Cinderella teams making the Sweet 16 in that bracket. You got 10 seed Maryland, who has the capability of beating anybody in this tournament. Not going to lie. I got them beating Alabama. I also have Georgetown, a 12 seed, upsetting Colorado and then upsetting Florida State. Georgetown came in as an 8 seed in the Big East tournament and wiped everybody out, shocked the entire nation. And I think they're going to keep that momentum going in. So I've got them in Maryland in the Sweet 16. But watch out for Shaka Smart and the Texas Longhorns. Just won their first Big 12 tournament championship, I think, in the last 26 years. I got Texas going in there. I got Texas coming out of that bracket.
Awesome. No, I actually have Florida State going to that side of the bracket. I like this Florida State team. Michigan's actually my lowest ranked 1 seed. They have some injury problems currently. Who knows what happens there? I think going into an LSU game in the second round is going to be very tough if they're still injury prone. So I think, and Michigan's kind of been falling down lately, and you don't want to have that running into the tournament. So I think they're going to have some trouble going against LSU if they beat St. Bonnie's. And then I agree. I think Georgetown's probably going to be an upset on the 12-5. But I think Florida State's probably going to take them out after that. So I have Florida State taking the east side.
I agree with that part too. Just to talk on Michigan, what you're talking about, the injury problems, I'm glad you reminded me about that. It's Isaiah Livers who is out indefinitely. I think he was their number 2 scorer.
It's a big point for the Michigan Wolverines is that you can't have a star player like that out come tournament time.
But I mean, just like Matt said, Texas, that's another team that if they were to make it to a Final Four and potentially a championship, first time in their history.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this side of the bracket, and I'm actually like mentally, I'm justifying why I could pick any of these teams to make a deep run that are lower ranked. Like LSU, they have the momentum coming off of a 1-point loss to Alabama. They play potentially a depleted Michigan team, so they could maybe make a run. Colorado, I never really trust a Pac-12 team, to be honest with you, and for whatever reason, I just don't like. I don't think they have like the tournament experience, I guess would be the thing I would say. You mentioned Georgetown being the 8th seed, winning the Big East. I like that's easily an upset there. Florida State as a 4 seed, as soon as you get to the Elite 8, that's an upset if they beat, if they get that far, or to the Final Four even. A 4 seed making it that far is pretty impressive. But UNCG is another team that we kind of watched a little bit that made some noise in their conference championship. In Florida State, a team that doesn't have much tournament experience, again, like Alabama, going up against a team that maybe not a lot of people are thinking about. UNCG is right there for maybe a 13-4 upset. BYU coming out of the West Coast Conference, potentially going up against 2 seasoned, experienced blue bloods in Michigan State, UCLA. Texas, I think, is the biggest guarantee outside of the 1 and the 2, or outside of the 1. Texas over Abilene Christian. Sorry, Darinka. And then UConn and Maryland. I think that's going to be a great game. But like you said with Maryland, honestly, any team coming out of the Big Ten had at least 10 top 25 games on their schedule. So they're battle tested. They know how to play in big games. They're in the tournament and they're going against UConn. And I hate the Big East. So I'm going to and I hate UConn because they stole the Civil Conflict Trophy as soon as we started winning it. So we don't like UConn. And then, like I said, Iona, just kind of for shits and giggles, but I honestly kind of feel some way about it. Looking up and down, I think this might be the most intriguing side of the bracket. Would you guys be against that, for that? What do you got?
I love the East for the upset potential, and if I had to pick a team to make a really deep run, I'm taking MSU. They're going to win their playing game. Tom Izzo come tournament time, it's just a scary thing to face. And Michigan State, they beat Michigan, and they beat, I believe, Illinois in their last few games. So those are 2 1 seeds that they beat in the recent history. So if they can do that, they can do almost anything.
Yeah, looking at the most recent part of their schedule, they have wins against Michigan, Ohio State, and Illinois, like you said. I mean, they played Maryland twice, Michigan twice. They played Purdue. They played a lot of these teams that are pretty good seeds in this bracket. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really have anyone big coming out, like in terms of a lower seed. So I might just piggyback off of Luke. That's a really good pick. That's something I didn't even notice. But Michigan State, if they make the tournament, they have all these really good games and experiences against these top teams and wins. So, I mean,
yeah,
Luke, I think you hit the nail on the head there.
And they're going against a UCLA team, which again from the Pac-12, not to be a Pac-12 hater, but they don't belong in the Power 6 as it is. So I don't think they really present much of a challenge. And it's about being hot at the right time. I have an interesting question I'm going to ask you guys a little bit later, but I just want you to keep Michigan State in mind. If I had to take an above 4 seed to make a run out of this side of the bracket, I am going to go with LSU. I think St. Bonaventure is an interesting one. I just struggle to trust those smaller schools in these types of spots, especially with LSU just going to the conference championship game, just going toe-to-toe with Alabama, who's a 2 seed. And, they await Michigan in the next round. I hope LSU doesn't overlook St. Bonaventure. I think that's the one thing that could happen, is that LSU is already looking ahead to Michigan, because if they beat Michigan, they're going up against either Colorado, Georgetown, or Florida State, which are all beatable teams for them. So there's an easy path to the Elite 8 right there for LSU. I'm going to take LSU as my dark horse team in the East, the above 4 seed to make a run. Matt, you got anyone?
I'll still stick with my gut, the Georgetown Hoyas, as a 12-5 upset, making that run to the Sweet 16.
I like it.